Standing here in Beirut, you're seeing behind me the road towards the north. This road was yesterday completely jammed because of traffic heading from the south towards Beirut and out towards the north. As you're seeing behind me, some usual traffic that is ongoing in the city. Not a lot of traffic jam. I think what we're seeing on the road in terms of evacuations have kind of settled down. Most of the people who are coming down from southern Lebanon have already made it home's way, whether to the relatives or to evacuation shelters nearby. Despite the fact that schools are closed, despite the fact that universities have completely shut down, we're seeing that life is still very much ongoing in Beirut. You're seeing the traffic behind me, you're seeing movement, people heading to their jobs, people heading to work. Yes, the entire southern part of the country has been evacuated. It is officially at war with Israel right now. Especially given the recent updates that you just mentioned, with missiles targeting Tel Aviv. But at least here in Beirut, other than the fact that schools and universities have been shut down, life is somehow sort of uncertain yet normal.
Uncertain, but still ongoing.
Yes.
How are people feeling in Beirut, Rawad? Given that it looks like things may get worse before they get better.
There's a lot of uncertainty going on in Beirut, especially when it regards to what are the next stages of this conflict or this escalation. We know for a fact that Beirut's southern suburb, Dahiya, has been targeted multiple times. We saw an entire building flattened with civilians killed. A few last week. We saw a precision airstrike that killed 2 Hezbollah members yesterday afternoon, along with a number of civilians. But there is a great fear that Beirut's southern suburbs could look like something like what happened in the 2006 war. Despite the fact that Beirut and its southern suburbs have been hit a number of times over the past year, whether in precision airstrike or whether that assassination of the Radwan commanders, which led also to the death of more than 50 civilians, the city has been fairly sidelined from the conflict, away from those, except in those cases of the assassinations. So there is great fear of what is going to be the next phase like for Beirut and its southern suburb in particular, whether it could look like something which what we saw in the 2006 war. Now, just a reminder to our viewers, the 2006 war saw the entire Beirut southern suburb being carpet bombed by Israel back in the day. So this is the great fear today, as long as the fear of uncertainty of how long this situation of war and uncertainty will extend.
Indeed, and Hezbollah has been badly hit. It has admitted that some of its top commanders have been killed, but we're also seeing them retaliate, even going further, I believe, than ever before, aiming towards Tel Aviv and Israel.
Yes, indeed. I think if we want to talk about today's launch in particular, it was intercepted by Israel, of course, as we saw in the video, and by statements from the Israeli army. But I think it's the key message. Assuming that Hezbollah could launch missiles targeting Tel Aviv like it did today, but it chose to fire only one ballistic missile. So I think this is a very key remark which we should highlight, is the fact that Hezbollah still has a lot of cards in the game, despite losing a lot of its top commanders and despite the heavy evacuations in southern Lebanon and the big moral blow that its base has took over the past week, whether in terms of all those assassinations or in terms of the mass evacuations from southern Lebanon. But Hezbollah still has a lot of cards to play. Still has one of the largest ballistic missiles ammunition depots. The Hezbollah's rocket arsenal is larger than many world powers in terms of the number of rockets and missiles they have. So yes, Hezbollah suffered a large blow over the past week, but still has a number of cards to play. One of them is targeting Tel Aviv, and this is why I think this one ballistic missile that was launched earlier today from southern Lebanon is not more of a message hoping for things to de-escalate, at least, or showing what Hezbollah could do in the next phase.